Hi, Blair Camp, Mayor of Murray City.
Jeff Young, Richmond City Mayor.
This is the city manager. You know him?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry.
I'm expecting greatness out of you.
What do you mean? It's always great. Everything I do is greatness.
My name is Len Arvey. I am the mayor of the city of North Salt Lake.
I got asked by those that were trying to find candidates to run in the city for city offices to see if I would be willing to run for council. And I did and was elected and have ran 5 times and won every time.
Emily Niehaus, I'm the mayor of the city of Milwaukee.
My name is Stan Smith. I'm the mayor of the town of Springdale.
I had a situation that arose early in my service as mayor where a number of residents were concerned about something, and instead of calling me, they called the previous mayor. Because the previous mayor was probably better than me and smarter than me at handling that situation anyways.
Hi, I'm Nick Castleton, mayor of Eureka, Utah.
Jim Talbot, mayor of Farmington City, Utah.
So far, so good.
So far, we've done it. Cut.
I have served on planning commission and the town council and the mayor for about 18, 20 years, somewhere in there. I stopped counting after a while.
Well, I decided to run for city council in 2013. I'd been a civil servant for many years. We've lived in the city since 1975, and we love the city and felt like it would be a good way to give back to the city.
My grandfather, 100 years before I was elected as mayor, was elected to the city council. It kind of runs in the family, and I think everybody has an obligation to do something, whether it be run for political office or just be involved in helping your neighbors and your friends and see what you can do to make the place better.
In my day job, I'm a professor of political science at Utah State University. I thought if I'm going to practice what I preach as a political scientist, that it would be important for me to be willing to take a little bit of time and try to engage and serve in my community in the way that I teach my students good citizens should do.
It's been very enjoyable over the years to work with 90%, maybe 99% of the people. I have benefited myself immensely from being in the positions that I've been in. And I almost feel like I learned more as a city councilman and as mayor than I learned in college.
When I was elected and when I came on board, I realized that I didn't know much of anything. It was pretty hard. There were a lot of intricacies that I came from the business side. You think city runs like a business and you find out budgets don't run like a business, income statements don't run like a business.
It was a beautiful surprise to be welcomed not only by legislators in being active in policy for the state, but also other mayors of cities and towns across the state. And I've been able to develop some really unique and beautiful relationships with those people.
Being a mayor has stretched me. I've learned over the past 8 years how important relationships are and connections, networking. I've also learned how to have thicker skin and be able to listen. One of the things that one of my staff members taught me is when people ask me questions, don't get so defensive. That was good advice many years ago. I've learned how to listen without trying to defend what my side of the story is.
You better be prepared to listen. And you're not always going to have the right answer because we all have different views on different things. If you're not changing because of citizen input, you're probably not doing your job.
If we look at the entire community and the state of Utah, we can't continue developing the way that we had been. Urban sprawl is bad in a lot of places, but in the Salt Lake Valley, it's particularly bad because we don't have many places to sprawl.
You're never going to stop growth. The only way you're going to stop growth is you quit having kids, and that's not going to happen. So you have to plan for it. Embrace it, plan for it, which Spanish Fork has really done well. Not only in my term, but former city council mayors, they've done a real great job of planning for the future of this city.
We see the delicate arch on the license plates. Moab is known, but it's one thing to know of a community and to really know a community. And so as mayor, I've just had the unique opportunity and pleasure to really tell them about a story and talk about congestion and talk about what it's like to be a city of 5,000 people, but be set to service up to 5 million visitors a year, and how complicated that can be and how there could be unintended consequences.
Why'd you decide now was the time to step away? And do you have...
And is it related? No, I'm kidding.
That could result in some really interesting stories. But
Every change in leadership brings a different perspective and different problems that can be solved. And I realize that the problems that I perceive and have been working on may not be the ones that are most important, even though I think they are. So the new people will come in and they'll set priorities, and I feel confident that the city will continue to move forward.
Someone else can come in and pick that up for that next phase. We all know tremendous growth is going to happen. And I, at least for me, I can't speak for them, there's a little bit in me that says, I'm okay someone else grabbing that. Because there's gonna be some really, really tough issues coming down the road. We know the state is looking at more multifamily. We know that they're recognizing it's gotta be distributed a little bit better than our large communities, which means our smaller communities are gonna have to start stepping up a little bit. That is going to be a very controversial, tough topic to tackle.
The people need to know that you care about them, you know, and you will listen to them. And a lot of times they think, well, you get in there and you just want it your way, you just want what you want. I've always taken the posture, I'll do whatever's best for Spanish Fork.
Look at the data, try and find as much data as you can to try and figure out what's really going on. Engage with citizenry, but at the same time, you have to do what you think is right eventually, and that walks a fine line. People think you're ignoring them. When you're not ignoring them, you're just disagreeing with them.
I've learned that M stands for meetings for mayor. And you have a lot of meetings, and some of them are great meetings. And so some mayors decide that there's too many meetings and I'm going to skip some of them. But those meetings are important because that's where you're networking, that's where you're building relationships, that's where you're getting the information. And sometimes, like I said, there's great meetings, other times there's not so great meetings. And you never know which one it's going to be, so you need to be out to all of them.
It is really hard to be in a position or place where you have to think for a group, not an individual. It's so much easier to just have your opinion. It's so much easier to just say, this is what you need to do and go do it. It's way harder when you have to say, okay, here's my opinion, but that is now different than half of my community, and that's really now making me think, okay, where is my opinion? And then making decisions where you have some that are really mad at you, but you still know that it's the right decision.
I think the advice is, don't do it. No, I'm just. And at the end of the day, I was elected to make decisions, and so you have to weigh what this shoulder, the demon on this shoulder is saying compared to what the angel on this shoulder is saying. But at the end of the day, a decision has to be made, and we're elected to make those decisions.
most of the things that have happened in the nearly 4 years that I've been mayor that were good weren't things that I did. Most of the good things that happened in the last 4 years are things that were set up by previous mayors, and it just takes so long for things to happen. My goal in the last 10 years of municipal service has been to just do anything I can to make my city a place where people love to live, where they're happy to be, where they like to be with their families, where they like to invite their grandkids, where they have hopes for what their future will be if they're young people.
The decision to not run for mayor again isn't because I didn't want to continue to be of service to my community. It's just that I am moving on from being mayor to allow others to run and hold this position.
In my mind, I'm sailing off into the sunset and everything will be great.
It's time for new ideas, different ideas. I've loved every minute, honestly, I have loved it. It has been exhilarating and thrilling for me.
I actually had a ultimatum, I guess you'd say. My wife told me I could either be married or be mayor. So,
You know, it was a tough decision because I thoroughly enjoyed doing what I'm doing here, being a part of the city. People don't realize how much time you spend. It's very time consuming. There's a lot of good people in this city that can run this city. And knowing that I had a good people coming after me made that decision a lot easier to make. And it's time for me to ride off into the sunset. How's that?
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.